Hey everybody, it's your boy, and I hate to say it, but
Fuck you, I was right! Fuck you, I was right! Fuck you, I was right!
okay, maybe I'm exaggerating somewhat, but however, I was right about certain things. Free speech was Elon Musk's big PR push, his angle, his whole reason, his pitch for owning Twitter, for buying it in the first place, to galvanise his fan base and also the right wingers that have been jumping on board his PR campaign for quite some time now. However, it turns out for those of us who are a bit more sceptical of his buyout, were, let's just say, proven correct when a good friend of mine added me on Twitter a statement that he made on Twitter. And Elon says, "New Twitter policy is freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. Negative hate tweets will be max deboosted and demonetized, so no ads or other revenue to Twitter. You won't find the tweet unless you specifically seek it out, which is no different from rest of internet. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. How is this different to what Twitter did in the old regime? You can say whatever you want in theory, in practice, within reason, but Twitter reserves the right to decide whether or not that reaches an audience. And since when did Elon get to decide what is and is not negative or hate? Those are very loose words. Is he now going to create a new Trust and Safety Council? Oh wait, yes, he already said he was going to create a new body, which is exactly the same as the old Trust and Safety Council, to decide what is and what is not negative content and hate tweets. Literally any tweet could become negative or hateful depending on what Elon and his little buddies decide. Is it going to be stuff criticising the CCP? Is it going to be stuff criticising Amber Heard and her feminist allies? We don't know. But it's very interesting that he says this. How can anybody say Twitter has changed for the best when the same things keep happening, only this time, potentially there are different targets? This is the classic I'm in favour of freedom of speech, but argument. Only he was smart enough not to use the word but, and instead used something ridiculous like freedom of reach. Freedom of reach does not exist. It only exists on platforms that pretend not to be publishers. Essentially, Elon Musk is saying that Twitter is actually a publisher and is taking advantage of the Section 238, whatever it is, rights that the American government has enshrined upon them, and nothing is going to change for the better. And in fact, you can tell by his actions what kind of people will be okay on this platform. And as you can see here, Jordan Peterson and Babylon Bee were reinstated, but also Kathy Griffin. Kathy Griffin, the woman who was actually trying to instigate violence against Donald Trump with the whole beheading video. She wasn't even joking. She now has the ability to use Twitter again. Jordan Peterson and the Babylon Bee didn't deserve to be banned anyway. Kathy Griffin had about as close an argument as you could possibly get to deserving a ban. Quite a lot of people like her deserved something like that when they're instigating violence like that in public. And as we now know, Trump was actually reinstated, much to my surprise. I didn't think that he would be, but when it comes to making more money and trying to get more eyes and ears to his platform and to himself, he's going to follow what the customers want. It only makes sense. This is, after all, a money-making venture for him. There's no principle about this. If the man had principle, he wouldn't be making deals with the CCP now, would he? Not everybody is allowed back on Twitter. When people demanded that Alex Jones come back, Elon Musk said no. There were many arguments back and forth between the two different sides, but one argument in particular really interested me. This wasn't made by Elon necessarily, but by people who didn't like Alex Jones. And that is that, well, Alex Jones shouldn't be allowed back on the platform by Elon and Twitter because he was recently found guilty of defamation to the tune of nearly $1 billion. Therefore, he shouldn't be allowed on. Yet Amber Heard, Elon's old flame, wasn't banned because of her own defamation case against Johnny Depp. She, in fact, decided to delete her Twitter of her own accord. There was no talk about her deleting it because of the court case necessarily. She tried to blame the good old-fashioned harassment and stuff like that. No, Elon allowed her to continue at her leisure. Elon Musk can point towards all these different people like Kathy Griffin and Donald Trump, the Babylon Bee and Jordan Peterson as examples of people he's reinstated as part of his goodwill, his freedom of speech platform, yet Alex Jones is the black mark and the one he refuses to bring back. Alex Jones, bearing in mind, was the first person who was essentially kicked off by decree by the elites, all at once. And as we know, Elon Musk himself has WEF links and links to different government agencies, not just in America, but in other countries around the world, and takes money from them. I wonder, is this the one thing that he can't break ranks on, or is he being allowed to bring back Donald Trump because, let's be honest, it makes things look better for them. This is probably the strongest argument for containment that I've ever seen, and I don't believe in that whole containment thing, but this surely would be academic agents' prime example of containment. Yet, I don't know. For most people, it seems that this is an amazing thing. Freedom of speech is returning to Twitter, yet it's not. The thing is, a lot of this new right-wing support for Elon is completely undeserved, but quite frankly, not surprising. There was only one right-wing channel that I saw actually call out Elon Musk over this, and that was Mark Dice, which is good on him. Again, he's not the most amazing pundit in the world, but he bothered to do that. Much like I'm doing now, of course, but I was doing it way before him. The problem is that a lot of conservatives and right-wing libertarians are simply too desperate for allies and too gullible as a result in order to see through the confidence tricksters of the world, like Candace Owens, like Elon Musk, etc., etc. You see it constantly. Anytime these people claim to flip sides or to be on their side, they just rush over and give them their full support, as opposed to actually, sit back, relax, think about this, and be like, well, is this person really in our best interests to support? What do their actions say? Instead, they go purely for what they say, not what they do. And when you actually look at what these people do, they're anything but net positives and usually always net negatives. You also see it with smaller accounts that don't have massive influence. How many times have you seen women who are conservatives always blow up on Twitter and YouTube for saying the most milquetoast or even batshit crazy things that if a man said would be either ignored because it's, again, milquetoast or completely batshit? Why are you saying that? Well, because it's a woman, it's somehow either more acceptable or just more popular. I think we all know why it is, and that's because these people are not thinking with their brains, they're thinking with something down there. Much like with Elon and other people like that, although they may not necessarily be thinking with something downstairs, they might be thinking with something more like feels as opposed to their brains. The right needs to stop getting had. They need to learn to be streetwise and street smart and root out these people. Yes, you're never going to get rid of them all. In fact, you will most likely be duped by a few. We all have been. We're all human. We're not perfect. We're not supercomputers in our brains. We will always be fooled by at least one person. But we should all be smarter. We should all be on the lookout for people like Elon Musk. But the problem is, things like this will not actually push the tide against him. Even though he's since deleted this tweet, as you can now see. Luckily we have archives. It still will be memory hold, and it will take something much bigger than this that will actually affect these people until they finally realise that the guy has always been a hack and a fraud and should be better left untouched. He should be purged. But until that happens, I will warn you guys not to trust people like him. But until next time, it's been your boy, and I'll see you all later.